Hello everybody, welcome to a quick coverage recap of what's happened in round one. Sorry, Alex is still in the room and he's just having a little chuckle about me streaming. Wales, we were paired against, thanks for that, we were paired against Djibouti, which is an African country, and we were heavy favourites to win. We've got I am Jose on board 1. Greg Toshchek and FM on board 2, myself FM on board 3, and Alex Bullen, Candidate Master, on board 4. Dan Kozizek was rested today, and our opponents were rated. I think their top board was something like 1900. The next two down were 1700s, and then they didn't have a rating on the bottom board. So on paper, it looked like it was going to be a very easy win for us. However, if you play through the games, you'll realise very quickly that it was not easy at all. I thought my game was easy, but actually realised afterwards and been told by many people that it was not easy at all, and I'll show you where that was. So I'll have a quick recap of my game because it's quite quick. But then if you want to play through the rest of the games, I'm using live chess here. You just need to go on broadcasts. Our board was quite low, so I think we're on board like 78 or something like that. So you need to click on the specific board to get our games up. And then also at the very end, I'll have a little look at the just the women's results as well. So I was against Hamid Ali Dima, 1761. Obviously, I'm more 400 points higher rated than this guy. Obviously, I found out some of his games, and straight away from move 1, I was a bit surprised when he played 1e6, which was not really what I was expecting. I thought from his games he would have gone like d5, c4, and then c6 and play the Slav like he's done beforehand. Very difficult to find games on these players. They played in a few Djibouti tournaments, and a couple of others, but Olympiad tournaments as well from 2 years ago. Whereas compared to games, him searching for me could probably search for quite a lot. But my opponent clearly had a bit of a plan, and I played c4, and then he surprised me by playing the English defence with b6, and I was like, okay, right, I know a little bit about this. I went knight f3, but e4 is the main move here. After bishop b7, the idea is that you put your bishop on d3. So I'll have a look at this line, but I just felt like playing something a little bit different. And he went bishop b7, and I thought, okay, I'll fianchetto my bishop. And then he surprised me again by playing g6. And I was like, hang on a minute, what is going on here? I knew that he did do some kind of silly stuff. And then, not silly, that's maybe the wrong word, but kind of like... He's played games before where he's gone like d6 and g6 and like knight d7, this kind of setup. So actually it's... I thought I was expecting something, as an option that could be like that. So after g6 with bishop g2, and I really quite liked the fact that I'm going to get some tactics on this bishop that I was looking out for. And if I move the knight at some point, it can be very sneaky and quite dangerous. So I was quite happy to get this set up. And then he's just played g6, which you would think would be followed by bishop g7. And then he goes d6. I'm like, what is going on here? What is this guy's plan? I had no idea what he was playing or where he was going to put his pieces, and clearly he's just happy to give me the centre, and then he's going to attack it later on at a different time. But after knight c3, knight d7, castles, bishop g7, I decided here to start going a little bit rogue. I'm castled with pieces developed, he's not, so I can start to gain some more space. And one of the kind of moves that I thought was coming, I thought he would go e5 at some point eventually, in response to that move, at some point I'm probably going to advance my pawn to d5, which would give this knight this c5 square. And I don't want to play b4 straight away because then he responds with a5, and I can't play a3 because he just takes it and my rook is on pre on a1. So I decided to play rook b1. I thought that was a useful move, getting it off the long diagonal of the bishop. It can't really be a terrible move, and just kind of seeing what my opponent's going to do. He's got a decision with this knight. Is he going to e7? Is he going to f6? Is he going to play e5? Is he going to play c5? Is he going to try f5? But for example, f5 just loses straight away because of this tactic that we talked about. The bishop's attacking this bishop down here, and when he takes, we don't take back. We take the pawn on e6, attacking his queen, and then we take the bishop on g7 check, and then recapture the bishop on g2, and we just want a pawn and we'll go on to win the game. So things like this were in the air already, trying to make it difficult for him to make any moves. He goes 97, I take the centre, and then he goes h6 here, and I was like, what is going on? He just does not want to castle kingside, does he? And he doesn't want to give me a target, he wants to remain kind of fluid. And this is kind of just his style, I'm guessing, that he wants to play in this way. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of an unusual way of playing it. And after bishop e3, he goes a6, and I think, okay, let's just do the simple stuff right. And then maybe this is a move that I kind of regret a little bit, but I usually want this knight to come back to d2, and then to play maybe something like f4 and just put all the pawns in the centre. Is maybe one way of playing it. Maybe d4 is a little weak when you do that as well. But I thought, okay, just play queen d2 and just stop him castling, because I've got too much on this pawn. So we can't castle kingside now. And really, this puts the ball back into his court. What are you going to do? Because if you can't play, you can't castle because of this, you're going to have to do something like c5 in order to gain some space, or commit with e5. So he's going to have to make a decision. And he ended up playing g5. And I was like loving it, because I could go h4, he goes g4, I come back. He very quickly played h5, and then I play f3, and I'm just like, great. His king's still in the centre. I'm attacking these pawns. We're opening up the f-file, and I'm going to checkmate him down the f-file. This will be nice and easy. Little did I know, and I am winning here, apparently the computer says. He plays f5, and apparently it's +3 to me. So maybe I've made some mistakes here. I take this pawn on g4, and he could have taken back this way, but it gets a little crazy here, because now when I do this move, he's got a bit of a problem, because he probably takes the bishop first, and how do I recapture him with the queen? And when he takes here, I could maybe just take this pawn if I wanted. And even though it opens up the file against my king, the problem is his king's not safe yet, and maybe with a little care at this point, I think the extra pawn would be quite good. And if he has to take with the pawn, then he's just opened up the e-file. His king's not castling kingside pretty quickly. It's still going to be a target there. The f5 pawn's a target. Moves like, if we protect this guy, bishop g5, would be threatening to take on f5 there. So this was not possible for him. So we took this way, and I thought, okay, I actually nearly played knight e2 here for straight away. Very nearly played this move. And the idea is that where are the weaknesses? There's a weakness on e6. There's a weakness on h5. There's probably, if we can get a queen into g6, okay, this knight's currently on that square, then yeah, we'd be laughing. So where does this knight want to be? He wants to be on f4. Of course, our knight on h2 is kind of not really in the ideal spot, but if we take on h5, then it's going to take on g4. And we kind of accepted that when they put it back there. But I decided to maybe play for some cheap trick, but also, again, put the ball back in his court to say, what are you going to do? So I went rook f2, and I was kind of ridiculously hoping here that he'd go knight f6, and then fall for this tactic of e5, where it unleashes the bishop and also the pawns attacking a knight. If he takes my bishop, I just take his knight, and we're equal material, but I'm attacking 3 different pieces at the same time. So that would have been pretty good. And you can't move the knight in the way, because it just gets taken. So that would have been good. But he played the right move, which was c5, and I thought this was probably his best try. And I had 2 options here. My second option was to play knight e2, because if he takes it, then when I take back with a knight, I'm attacking the pawn on e6, and it's really difficult for him to defend this pawn. And if he takes my knight off, then, well, he doesn't really want to give up this dark square bishop, so my knight would be super strong on this square. I am a little bit worried, of course. I mean, if I didn't have the attack on this pawn, then this knight coming to e5, and this e5 square would actually be really good. The c4 pawn, the f3 square, and also as well, his bishop coming to e5 as well, attacking my weakness on g3. So for all these reasons, I still have to be very careful here, because if he's able to use this e5 square to really attack my weaknesses and cause me some problems, then if he gets his king castle queenside or something like that, or even keeps it in the centre and is able to swap off pieces, then my position isn't great. It's going to take me some time to get this knight in h2 out as well. So I wasn't too completely happy with this, but I decided to go for a bit of a more risque variation. And I took the pawn on c5, and apparently this is a bit of a mistake, and the reason being is that I thought that his best move was actually to take with a knight, and the idea here is that I'm going to play b4, drive the knight back, and then I'm going to take the pawn on d6, and after bishop takes knight c3, I'm going to do queen takes e6. So I'll sacrifice the knight for 2 pawns, threatening a checkmate as well at the same time. This pawn might go at some point. This pawn on h5 might go at some point. My rook is going to come to d1. And I just thought that this was going to be really good for me, and I'll put the computer on later on to analyse it and maybe have a look at it over the board in a bit more detail. But he kind of didn't do this. He took this way, and now apparently I thought I played a great move. And this is again, round one kind of, I don't know, nerves or just not having the right focus. I played queen d6 thinking that I was great, and he immediately blundered back and played knight f8. So if you're playing black here, what would you do? So if you're watching on the record, just pause the video and have a go at trying to find a good move for black here, because there is a good move. And yeah, as I was pointed out, I had when I got back, the Dan who was resting told me about it. I was like, what? Because I hadn't had time to analyse it. I've had people on WhatsApp tell me about it too. But apparently here, knight e5 is just a really good move. And the point being that after queen takes e6, he goes bishop c8. And my queen is trapped. I can't move it anywhere. So of course I hopefully would have spotted that and would not have taken that pawn and lost my queen. That would have been hugely embarrassing. I don't even know if I can sack something to even get it out. I don't think I can. So it would have been a queen for a minor piece, which would have been game over. Probably resignable. But here I would have had to swap queens. Can I defend it with the rook maybe? Oh no, his knight and e5 is not that. His knight and e5 is just really good. Attacking. This pawn on c4, f3. It's all very very bad for me. So I guess I would have had to swap queens. He takes back with the rook, and this position is just really good for black now. His king being in the centre actually helps him. This is weakness when the bishop comes here. This is kind of being targeted, but it's more this, the active rook, the knight coming into d3. How do I defend this pawn here? Maybe I have to go something like bishop f1 actually. And okay, if this had happened in the game, I would have still backed myself from this position to create some more chances to win the game. Yes, he's got a great position. It didn't really convince me during the game that he knew what he was doing at all, though. So I would have backed myself to still, even though he would have found this one move, then I still would have backed myself to turn this around for a win. I'm not any material down at the moment, right, which is the important thing. And so you can still make things difficult, keep playing and playing and playing until they make another mistake. But luckily he didn't see that. He saw that his pawn was under attack and realised that he could defend it with knight f8. And then it was game over because I go queen f4 now. And so I was getting really happy about this kind of queen d6, queen f4 manoeuvre, threatening this check here. And then we're going to bring the rook across to win his queen or win a piece, whatever he blocks it with. I actually thought he had some better tries. He actually took the knight. I actually thought maybe bishop d4 was a bit of a better try, but it all just loses, I'm afraid, for multiple reasons. He took the knight, I took back, and the funny thing is he can't go rook h7 to stop queen f7 check because I just take the knight on f8, which is quite nice. But yeah, he played knight f5 to give a piece away, and so I took it. He went here, and he was attacking my rook. I just took this one. It doesn't really matter. And rook f1, and then queen takes f5. And here I could have easily swapped queens and taken the rook and been 2 pieces up. But I saw that I had slightly better and went queen d6, and it's very close to a mating net that he's actually in, and he has to give up his pieces here. And he finally resigned after I took this rook as well, while also still pinning his queen to his king. So yeah, not the smoothest of wins, I'm afraid. There was one mistake, but I'll have another look at it later on and see where I can improve. But maybe used a bit too much time early on as well, just deciding what to do. So I'll make sure to correct that in future games. Story of the round though was that actually this Djibouti team, actually full credit to them, they are actually playing some really good chess. Jose did win on board 1. But if we look, for example, if I just click on a random position, maybe somewhere like here on move 17, Jose's white here. He's definitely not. In fact, black's even slightly better here at this point. Okay, he starts to maybe err a little bit by swapping off, but Jose's position, he had a tough game here against an 1870, which you wouldn't expect, but they played some good chess, to be fair to them. And okay, Jose prevailed on this one in the end. On board 2, just click on that. Greg managed to get down to a queen ending, and then manage to salvage a draw. I'm pretty sure he'll be a bit unhappy that he drew, but also very happy that he didn't lose as well. So this game really could have gone for them. So here Greg was playing with the black pieces. So you've just seen the 2 white games, me and Jose. Greg had black here, and so I don't know if I go down here somewhere. Queen takes a7 is 1.2. I don't know, somewhere around this area maybe, king b8. So white's +2 here at this point, and then even further on down. Let's go to this point here. Okay, +5 at this point, which is really quite strange. Why did he not defend this pawn? Why did black not? So why did white not just go like something like this or something, or this to defend this pawn on b6? He played h3 for some reason. I've got no idea why he's done that. Why would you let this pawn get taken? I don't get it. Why does he let this? What? I mean, he's got 12 minutes on his clock. I don't understand that. 12 minutes. How much? All right. So he used 40 seconds and played h3. Clearly concerned about this, and mate. Which is crazy, because if you go a5, then you're actually threatening. Like, so here, if the queen leaves d8, then you go check and mate this way. Why would you do that? Greg got very lucky, but I think his opponent actually just played really well. Only rated 1779, and he got a draw with Greg, who's 2300. That's 500 rating points difference, more than, in fact, 522 rating points. Is that right? I done my maths right, yeah? Difference, and he held Greg to a draw. So a full credit to his opponent there. He played Omar. Looks like he played a fantastic game. So that's 2.5 to us, and then finishing just after me, Alex Bullen was playing black here, and he whipped out his Cairo Khan, which seems to do the trick for him. And I saw that he won a piece somewhere around, where was it? What move number did he get to? He's got some nice light square control with his knight. Nice knight on c4 that can never be taken. It was around this point here, and his opponent decided to take this pawn on a7, which was going to lose the bishop. I think his opponent probably could have done better here, but here he took this on pawn on b6, and then after check, king here takes the bishop. Black is just winning. It's a piece for a pawn up. Should be quite simple. A bit surprised that Alex didn't choose a different way of playing it around this point here. I thought it's quite simple here to just go knight d5 check. The king moves away, take the rook, and then just play rook d8 and the pawn that's on d6. Alex shows a different method of checking this way and then taking the rook and going knight e8, which I just thought was a little bit... still works, still wins the pawn, but just maybe gives white a bit more play. He's still lost, but maybe it doesn't matter. But I mean, Alex has got that to learn, hasn't he? So he's on the bed right now, just listening to it.
That's right, mate.
What's up?
Why would I do all this nonsense and get his rook active? Knight e8 was genius.
Knight e8 is genius. So we've won the match 3.5 halves, so off to I guess a good start, but definitely a bit of a wake-up call, and just goes to show that there's not many easy games in this event. But okay, we're going to have even stronger opposition tomorrow. I think the hypothesis says that we should get a team probably with 4 Grandmasters in or something like that, and I'm sure Daniel Kozisek will come back into the team. I don't know who will drop out though, but really good start. I know as well that I think the women won 4-0. I don't actually know what board number they were on actually. Let's just have a quick look. Where were they? Were they in the top half or bottom? They must have been in the top half, mustn't they? Just clicking teams. So on live chess, it looks like you have to find a board number. So one of the things that's best, so they played St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and they won all 4 games. So Olivia, Linda, and Kim have played in the Olympiad before, won their games, and Emma played her first game in the Olympiad and got a win. I think she told me something like she won a queen on move 7 or something like that. So I'm not going to play through the games because, I'll let you do that. So on live chess they were on that. So if you go on to chess results when you see our pairings, and look at what board number we're on. I think that's pretty important, because then if you're looking on live chess, it looks like they've separated out all the games based on board number, so then you can get to us a bit quicker. We should be in the top half. We will be in the top half for tomorrow, so it'll be a higher board number. It's not going to stay the same, but we're looking for an upset, or to cause an upset, and we're really happy at the moment, obviously, with the win. I haven't spoken to Greg yet, so we'll see how that goes. But really happy. Thanks very much for watching, everybody, and I hope you've enjoyed playing through the games and watching them live. And that's round 1 done.